Welcome back. We're at the Stoke Rewire. This was, I'll get into it in a minute, going to be the last visit ever. Maybe not, unless they want more stuff doing. To here, the kitchen is 99.9% complete. It was just waiting on me for the LED tape. This is where we're sat. Wonderful. Dining room table, lovely hanging light. And they were going to have the Narnia door going through to utility, but the customer's not here, not had a chance. Either way, still looks fantastic. I just think there was complications going through, potentially with the plinth, end panel, whatever. Either way, it's gorgeous. The flooring with the black cupboards, the beautiful bifold that's now in, the matte black Evolve range, fantastic, coming across. So way before Christmas, I turned around at my brother's house and I said this. Last thing, I just want everyone's recommendation. I've been asked by a few customers to get the LEDs that chase, that turn on like a lightsaber. So if you had an LED strip in the ceiling here, you turn it on and you could physically see like a loading bar of it turning on. I can't seem to find anyone other than TikTok shops that do it. So if you fitted some and it's programmable, to do that, please let me know and put it in the description because I really need to get hold of some. Thank you. And a company reached out to me called LED Space and they sent me a little demo box of different bits of tape, drivers, that sort of stuff. And what I wanted is the LED tape to run NeoPixel, whatever it's called, I don't know, where you can make the LEDs do certain things. We're not doing that here, but the company, I spoke to one of the guys and we went backwards and forwards of what I want to do for my house because I wanted to fit stuff in people's houses and go forward with a product that I use, recommend and like. You haven't seen this because I haven't recorded, but I have fitted some at my house in the downstairs toilet. It's so bright. So I placed the order, went through the stuff, and I think towards the end of the video, because we're doing stuff at my house, I will have a code that you guys can use, but you'll understand why I'm going with this in a second. I ordered the bits, LED trim to go in and around, so I'll run through the wiring properly. This video is everywhere at the moment, but I'm made a boo-boo on the order. I meant to order 20 meters and I accidentally ordered the one, which isn't quite enough for the whole kitchen. But not to worry, it's coming tomorrow. So this video will be one continuous video. I'll be back here in an evening just to put it on. So what we did is we have a 2-gang switching system. So the first one up here, and what I did coming across. So what we have here is the cable from the light switch because the power's at the switch. So this is a switch live, neutral and earth. The heat shrink stuff, we've got the fridge, which is the unit below. We've got the window, we've turned around and we've got the island and the cooker. So individual drops running down to every break within the unit coming across like so. And the reason for this, with my lack of experience or knowledge with the LED tape, I wasn't sure if I was gonna have to put individual drivers on each cabinet or I could buy a big one and stick it up there, hence why I left it accessible to a point where it is hidden to cover all the stuff. Worst case, if I had to put a driver under each unit where it's going, we could have just put a Wago box, jointed the cables through up there, bring 240 power because we put 1mm cable in, the Doncaster Earthshore cable in throughout, and then put the drivers underneath, under the plinth. But what they said is they do a really big driver, which I can now stick that up on top of the cupboard out the way where it's hidden. The 1mm cable I've already put everywhere, we'll just run the 24 volt from now on, down to the cupboards, we'll do a connection underneath, straight through into the LED tape, which is perfect. But my only concern that was volt drop, distance run, and for the meterage I need to do in here, this driver should be absolutely perfect. There's a few different ways that I want to connect it under the cupboard. So that's gonna go up there for the driver with this. We've got our little Wago boxes on there. Do we either put Wagos on, connect it through, put it down, or do we crimp it and then heat shrink it and stick it under the cupboard? Technically speaking, once that's under there, I can just stick a Wago on it and chuck it underneath because it's 24 volts, it's low voltage. It doesn't need the protection with the box around it of single insulation exposed because it is 24 volts. But I'm not gonna do that. I'll put a box around it, but I'm gonna try the 2 ways. So we'll do this one first. It comes with, when you get the stuff, their cable, but because I'm doing a lot of it at my house at the moment, I went on Amazon and bought some bit bigger cable, which will be a bit easy to heat shrink with this because the thickness of the outer insulation is bigger. Nick, just get on with it. Okay. The cable's all a bit excessive underneath, but to be honest with you, I am not, for the life of me, going to cut any cables shorter. They're just going to be left in a nice coil. I'm going to cable tie some of the cable if it's too excessive to the underside, but being 24 volt. Coming down, there is a CPC within the cable. We're not using it. It won't even be connected that end because this side will be 24 volts. So I'm happy, I wouldn't normally ever do this, just to snip that off to allow us to get the heat shrink round, make this a bit smaller. The cable is 0.5 mil, which is like the top end recommend, which is the top size that you can put within the LED space connectors, which I've run you through, which are very nice, to be honest. Because of the conductor size with these, I am going to twist it and then double it over to push within. My very trusty, rusty Knipex grippers. Also, my button's disappeared. He obviously snapped off. I've got one this side. Customers took all the plinths off. They haven't exactly, I think this is the only one that's been cut to size. We have got aluminium profile, and I'll show you that in a little bit in the garage. I had a chat with them this morning, and they, because of getting these on and off and the profile height, they would rather we just stick the LEDs completely underneath rather than the profile. And so I brought them, I wanted to do it this way, but what customer wants, customer gets. And at the same time, I know you're going to see less of it. So, you know, it's personal preference. Some people don't like it with the stickiness because they think it could fall off or whatever. But you do have a decent gap there. So this is the trim, aluminium profile, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, nice slim line. Ooh, beautiful. And then you've got that clips on, and it comes with the pack. So you've got the end caps and little screws, so you can just click it on because it's got the trim on the outside, so you can click it onto the cupboards. This will, especially for this, be thin enough. And for the purpose of, just for this, I've already bought it. I'm going to cut this to size, cut it, put it in there so you can see. You can see if the customer likes it, but I understand you want it up out the way. I think if you're doing under cupboard lights where you can physically see under it, this is the way to go. Under here, either. I can't see it's ever going to get splashed or whatever. And when I did the adhesion of the sticky pads on the back of these ones at my house, you ain't going to get it back off. When I've had to super glue older tape in the past, I think, oh, we'll get this there and the other. No, that will stay on forever. We've got this auto size, and always the awkward thing is you want to see the LED. It's going to be a bit different here because you can't visually see this, but you want to see the LED and the light emitted from the tray, or when you do ceiling lights and whatnot, that it runs full distance. When you turn around and you put these are their connectors, you put this in, let's say on the end, you do get a slight dull spot, which we've had before. So when we've done LEDs in the ceilings before, as and when this is in the ceiling, we've notched the back out and we've brought the tape pretty much to the end, and then the connection is above within the ceiling. Can't do that here other than going through the side. But the way these connections work, they've got little tabs, sorry about the dirty fingers. Through there, you've got one side, which is the slot for the LED, and one side, which is the slot for the cable, which if I use the cable that they provided with me, which I've done at home, you just split it, push it, and then you get your grips, pliers, whatever, and you push down on the tabs and it pushes itself into the cores. It's the same thing with the metal tabs there. It pushes itself into the two copper connectors within. So if I just slot that in that side, I'm not going to crimp this down because this first bridge is a double bridge, which also goes into the cables as well. And this is also for the cable, just to be, I would say, on the safe side as when you push that through. But because I've used this cable, which is double insulated, I will have to strip back what I need. Let's say this. This then would poke, but obviously you need to make sure you're getting your positive and your negative the right way. This has got positive on that side, so they slot in like so. Push all the way down, so you want to make sure the cable is going all the way down, pretty much touching the end of the LED tape, so it gets both tabs. And you crimp that down, but I'll put a bit of heat shrink over this bit. Not necessarily, like I say, it's 24 volt, but just for me to make that job a little bit nicer. But what I'm saying is, as and when is the little cap ends, that's going to go all the way to the end. And that's on, connected. And then before I do anything else, I'm because I don't want to stick this under the cupboard, get it stuck, and find out my connection's bad, or this is bad, being 24 volts. So I'm going to wire up that end, run you through that after the fact, double check this is working, cut this to size, stick it up, put the plinth back on, away we go. I've just put this in the profile, so as and when we can turn it on, I can slip it in so you can see what it looks like. I've had to connect through this side because this was my original drop down for the cooker. Because the cooker was going in, I also put a link between this one and this one. I could have done it in 12 volt cable, but initially I did this on first fix, just in case for this reason. So this is the other method of turning around. Instead of through crimping it with the heat shrink, we can Wago it, strip this back, double this over, put that in the Wago box, and then bring the link through forward to the tape. But it's personal preference. Cheaper wise, that's cheaper. You can do some through crimps with some heat shrink. Obviously with this, we're doing Wagos. Obviously you can just leave it like that. If you're gonna leave it like that, I would write on it saying 24 volts or 12 volts, whatever you've got. But obviously on top of this as well, I'm gonna put some boxes around. So the price adds up and up and up. I know you can get the dual crimps where you can put 2 cables in, 1 cable out. I don't have any of them. So that's what we've got there. So let's turn this on. Coming up on the cupboard, we've got our massive 24 volt driver. We've linked through. So this is our switch feed in, 240 volts. And then we've got our 24 volts out. I just realized as one was doing it, this has got 2 outlets as well. That is linking through with our link cable, and then just wired up currently is the cooker one, which is just down there. And this is what we're looking at tape wise. This is obviously 24 volts. This is 9 watt per meter, I think. So this is the seamless 8 warm white 24 volt, and it's 9 watt per meter, as you can see there. And this is exactly the same one I've got at my house in the bathroom, and it is extremely bright coming off there. So let me set you on the tripod so you can see what it looks like in the diffuser. Obviously this is going to be taped down to the bottom. There we go on that. So all I'm going to do now, turn it off. When you cut this tape, you've got to cut it, but you can cut it anywhere as long as it's in between of 2 of the copper tabs to connect through. So we'll get that cut to length. And last but not least, I'm just going to stick a cable tie. I know it's a crimp, but to get it off the floor, and this is only case they have any form of flood or anything in here, the joint isn't going to get hit. But to be honest with you, you're not really going to get flood from here or there because the sink is in the island. That is on. Let me turn it on for you guys. I know in the middle of the day, as of right now where it's really sunny, you can't tell the difference, but obviously towards the end of the video, once we've got it all done and it's in the evening, like the customer to send a little video or some pictures of it. But essentially, it is as simple as that if you want to stick it to. We've got more involved if we're doing aluminium stuff, which I'm going to be doing at my house. There's loads of it going in the profiling, especially in the ceiling, which was a pig to do. Bigger room, I can imagine it's great, but in a little downstairs toilet that I did it in and wanted to do the biggest rectangle I could, and then plastering myself, not so much fun.
So we've got some great news and some bad news. Me.
So Jake, who works for LED Space, is on his way here now, and he's going to drop the stuff off to me, which is perfect. It means I can get this all done and dusted with one day. But the customer was going to put the plinths on tonight because a few of them need scribing, as in this one. The floor is slightly bowed here because this is where one of the walls was taken out. So I said, all the other plinths is fine, it's just this one. And because I need to get this on, because of the one cupboard only, where the dishwasher comes through, it doesn't need cutting there, which sometimes it does, you need to notch the plinth out. This is a floating space underneath the dishwasher, so if I wanted to run the tape under, it floats, it doesn't sit right, it looks weird. So depending on how this looks, I might have to bring the tape, put it extremely high level on the plinth itself, rather than on the cab. At least when it's on the plinth, it will have something to support and to stick across the front to still bring the light out. And you will never see it. Where the table's sat compared to you guys, if I was to put you on the edge, you would never see the tape coming down the side, especially underneath here. I suppose the only time you would ever see it is if you were stood outside looking in, but it's one of them things of, we want to get the tape in across, I want to get this fitted, but I need to scribe. I have done this a couple of times. Like I said, I've done carpentry for years. My granddad was a chippy. I have learned the way of the wood. Some masking tape just around the customer up and just ran through to make sure he was okay with me doing this, because I don't want to just start cutting his plinth off and for all I know he's been
extremely looking forward to doing this, and I just took it away from him. So I know the feeling. So the plinth's in either side, I'm happy where it is. All I'm gonna do is pencil in flat, and that already runs to the bottom of there. And as I run this through, it will give me a height of how much the floor is out, of how much I've got to cut off. You can do this with circular saw, most chippies will. I don't want to, one, because the way I've marked this, the way the circular saw blade comes up, it will chip the veneer off the front and it'll look awful. And then secondly, I've not got mine on me, I'll be using the customers. And if I use a handsaw, I can control it. Downward strokes, you push into the wood. So if there's any chippings to happen, it will be on the back, which doesn't matter. So anyway, this isn't a woodworking channel, but I just thought I'd explain. Right, will it fit? And not only will it fit, will my cable come through? Because I've just realised that, but we'll find out. It's like that old video, will it blend? Let me know if you remember that, guys. Oh, I'm just weird.
Will it blend? That is the question. I love my new iPad. It does a ton of cool things, but will it blend?
Absolutely mint.
Last little bit now. Got a temporary one on there. Got a temporary one on there. I've already checked that cooker one. This last little one to do here. Up on the cab, quick fit JB with all our connections. We've got the driver, everything's heat shrinked, labelled up what we want. Oh, God, I'm really hot. So got a few more things I'm gonna crack on with. Jake should be able a little bit with the LEDs, and then we can get this all wrapped up and get a lovely picture from the customer tonight.
Absolute legend. Jake's just been, we've got our tape.
Gonna get this all on now, heat shrinked, stuck back, and then we will show the finished result. It's pointless showing you what I'm gonna do with this, because I've already shown you. We're done. I genuinely really enjoy doing this. I wish they had some wall units, which they don't, which is one thing I do like about the kitchen, is it's simplistic, nice, modern. I love the colour, I love the floor. We spoke to the customer when it was fitted. I think we're gonna do a very, very similar thing in my house once I get round to it. I like that there's no wall units, genuinely, but then when you get to stuff like this with LEDs that you wanna show stuff off and highlight stuff, especially at night time with mood lighting, under cupboard lights on a wall unit, it really does make a difference on the surface. Obviously we can't do that here. I've just said as and when I've turned it on, it's screaming for underneath this breakfast bar bit. You can't quite tell right now because of the sunlight. There's no blinds, I've turned the lights off, but potentially have a look at running it there, which is dead simple for us to do because we've got a bit of extra stuff and the drive is big enough. The customer is gonna get a video for me tonight of all the stuff to show you guys, and it is, anyway, I'll let you be the judge of it. Coming through, we've got it all under here. I would only say just the plinth that I've just pulled through, that was in the other room, it does need to wipe down. It's just got a bit of surface dust on it. Coming across to the corner unit, coming across to the other side of the cooker, across here, you can see a bit of the dust on there, coming across to this bit. So at night time, this is gonna look fabulous, but I would like to see it under here, I think. And like I said, when we were doing this, and we talked about the spotlights, what felt like years ago now, even though it was just before Christmas in 2024, is this would have been absolutely perfect for profiled LED in the ceiling with a couple of spots maybe. You know, you hang in chandelier, you could have done a rectangle around there. I do think it's a thing of the future, like I said before. I really see this taking off massively. I know it's been around for a while. I know there's some sparks that are probably watching this go.
Shut up, Nick, I fitted this for quite a long time, but...
It's one of the things that's outside your comfort zone that I needed to have a practice with, that I needed to find something that I liked and that was reliable, well-reviewed, UK sourced, and someone that I've got on the inside that I can pick and ask questions as well of, not only do I want to do warm white, we want to do traceable. We want to do the addressable LEDs that we can just turn on. It's the lightsaber effect, it's the flashing effect, it's the glowing effect. Everything's dimmable. It can be off our phones, it can be off two-way, three-way switching. You know, you could play the music through the ceiling speakers and it flashed certainly. That is not for everyone, that's not everyone's cup of tea. I'll have to edit this bit on screen because I've spoke to Jake and waiting for some information. Within the description, there will be a discount for a set period of time and we're going to go from there. If the code works well and you guys like the stuff and it works, we can always move to bigger discounts on more products or this, that and the other. But it'll be on the screen and it will be in the description below for LED space. Like I say, you're going to see it constantly around my house. We'll get a good review. We're going to get the tracer ones, we're going to get the smart ones, we're going to get the Wi-Fi ones, we're going to get the RGB ones. We're going to do the sunken profiles, we're going to do the aluminium profiles, which we've got here in and around. And the last little bit is going to be a few pictures or a video that the customer's got for me of this at night time. So anyway, love you, bye.